What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base's Damage. Hope you're having a fabulous day today. Continuing along the set reviews that I've been posting out a whole bunch of recently to try to catch back up. We have the Quintessential Quintuplets movie booster pack that will be coming out June 2nd. That is really close, not too far away. And I have to worry about what I may find in here today as to what I'm going to be picking up. But I wanted to go through this set. I'm going to take a quick peek at how many cards is in here. It is a 100 card set with some promos at the very end. So yeah, let's just jump right into this. As per usual, I'll try to showcase every single one of the double rares for each color, and then I'll go through all the rest of the cards off recording. And then I'll come back and show you any cards that I feel are of worth, worth noting, or maybe some funny effects, like, with the fucking Grisaya overview with Tuna Man, that crazy stuff like that, or even just things that I think are cool and worth mentioning. So without further ado, let's hop right into Best Girl. We got Yellow with Ichika. Gotta make certain I go past, like, there's overframe rares and SSPs and everything. I'm not certain exactly how many double rares are in each set. We also have Yotsuba in yellow. So I usually just pick up the first 5, and typically the double rares are within the first 5. So obviously we have that face. Ichika Nakano. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Ichika Nakano, Unique Charm, which I did take a little bit of a glance over the names. There's a lot of the girls have one that say Unique Charm, so maybe it's going to be a recurring thing, or some card has to do with that. When your climax is placed, it's a 0015. When your climax is placed in the climax zone, choose one of your characters. It gains the following ability until end of turn. When this attacks, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one of them, put it on top of the deck, and put the rest into waiting room. So a little bit of filtering and whatnot. Which this could be interesting for different builds. Okay. Brainstorm, always good. Pay 1, rest this, mill 4 for each climax. Salvage a character from waiting room. So, pretty solid. No objections here, because it's Best Girl. Then we have Ichika Nakano, Unappeasable Emotions. I had to say that in my head like twice before I said it. It's a 3/2/10K. We have, when this is placed on stage from heal 1. Okay, so heal 1 on play. When this attacks, if Gutsy Answer Comparison is in the climax zone, if you have 2 or more quintuplet characters, you can discard a card. If so, this gains the following ability until end of turn. When damage dealt by this is canceled, choose up to X cards in your opponent's waiting room. Return them to your library. Your opponent shuffles the library. Deal X damage to your opponent. X is equal to the number of other quintuplet characters. Okay, so we have a, on attack, you have to pay a cost. It's just discarding a card, so that's not too terribly excessive. But I kind of like the, I like the idea of decompressing them. Like, assume you have a full field. So you would make them send back in 4, and then deal 4 damage to them. So, now granted, this stipulation says, there's a minimum. It says you have to have 2 or more other quints to activate this effect. Meaning, at minimum, say you don't have a back row, this will still work, because if you tri-field like this card, means you can swing with each of them and pitch a card. And every single one of the effects would make them add 2 cards to deck and burn 2. So it is kind of situational. It depends on what you're trying to run. But you, like, more than likely, depending if you're needing to poke for, like, precise damage, you probably wouldn't have any cards in back row for this. Because it doesn't have to reverse. That's pretty cool. Cards you would play from hand to like, play back rows and stuff, you could instead just, save cards in hand to discard for the effect. This is pretty cool. It's not the best in the world, but I do like it. Like, I'm not trying to say it's bad. So, and that's it for the double rares. So, okay, so no Yotsuba yellow double rares. Then we have, we'll just continue these and we'll go to green. Or whatever I think green's the next one. Ichika Nakano, Relaxing in Yukatas, a 0015. When this is placed on stage from hand, if you have another character with Ichika, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Put them on top of the deck in any order. Pretty cool. When this is placed from hand to stage, you can pitch one, reveal the top card of your deck, choose a level X or lower character in your waiting room with Ichika in name, return it to your hand. X is equal to the level of the card revealed this way. Okay, pretty cool. So obviously doing so lets you check what the top card is. If you need these, like, you're like, oh, I just need to get a level 0, then we're good. Oh, I want to specifically add back my early play level 3 or this specific level 1. You can make certain you can basically stack the top of your deck to make certain that you can grab back what you're looking for. So you get to check first, maybe check your waiting room afterwards, see if you wanted to activate the second effect, and if so, bam, you can almost guarantee that you're going to grab back stuff, especially if it's in an all Ichika deck. So that's pretty cool. My nose is already trying to stop up. We have a Yotsuba Flowers of Gratitude. The 0015. What looks to be a Yotsuba locked card. When this is placed on stage from hand, put the top 2 cards of your deck into waiting room. Gains number of characters with Yotsuba or reason of transferring. Must be like an event or something. Gains 1,000 times each of those. And when this becomes reversed in battle, you can pay 1, pitch 1, and send this level 0 to memory. If you do, choose a character in your waiting room with Yotsuba in name, return it to your hand. Okay, pretty cool, and you get a little bit of memory compression. That may have something to do with effects later on. So. Then we have, lastly, is a 1/0 Yotsuba Nakano by your side. It's a 4K. If there's at least 1 card in your memory, this gains 15. Okay, so we're going to be having memory stuff with this. When this is placed on stage from your hand, you can pay the cost. If so, choose a cost 0 or lower character in your waiting room with Yotsuba and put it on any slot of your stage. At the end of the turn, send that character to memory. Okay. Interesting. So just pay 1 stock to guarantee you get your memory kit going off at the end of the turn or whatever. Which you could still like say something like a brainstormer or something off of this effect, even if you know it's going to memory at the end of the turn. And just do like a little bit extra compression with Yotsuba. That's kind of cool. So yeah, we'll continue on to the greens. And we'll continue from there. And the first green double rare is going to be Yotsuba Nakano Unique Charm. Then it's going to be, we get this. Okay, so everyone's going to have Unique Charm and Flowers of Gratitude effect. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I did get the Miku. Then Ski. Okay. For the first double rare for this, we have a Yotsuba Unique Charm, 1045. During your turn, for each of your other Quints gains 500, so a offensive 1065. Climax combo, I'm going to assume is probably a bar. When this attacks, if you have Farewell to Memories in your climax zone and you have another Quints, look at up to X cards from the top of your deck, search for 1 Quints, reveal it, put it into your hand, put the rest into waiting room. If X is 7, if there are 4 or more cards in memory. Okay, so you get so as long as you have 4 or more in memory, you get to check 7. Okay, so there, I understand what's going on. So basically, the minimum that you're going to be able to top check is 3, whether you have cards in memory or not. So that's still good. But they're trying to cap it at 7, so you don't just like top check like 10 fucking cards if you have a whole bunch of cards in memory. So minimum of 3, up to 6, so between 3 to 7 cards, depending on how many cards are in your memory. I'm not going to sit here and try to do algebra. So that's pretty cool, being able to, like, the more that you have in memory for, which is going to give you memory compression, which is always good. That means the more that you can top check for this effect. It's on attack. You don't have to reveal. This is pretty fucking good in my mind. If you're able to do like more of the memory kick stuff, I don't know if other characters are going to have the memory kick, like send to memory as cost effects, or if it's just going to be like a mono Yotsuba deck type thing. But we'll check that out. Special Yotsuba Nakano is a 3/2/9/5. Memory effect: if there are 3 or more quints in your memory, this gains 1,000 power. And the ability, when this attacks, you can pay 2, pitch 2, deal 2 damage to your opponent. This heals on play, and it has a climax combo. There's a lot going on for this card. Holy fuck. When this attacks, if True Feelings is in your climax zone and there are 3 or more quints, you can pay 1. If so, deal 2 damage to your opponent. So for having all those cards in memory... See, okay, there's another thing. If there are 3 or more quintuplets characters, I'm assuming there's more stuff that goes to memory for this. There's going to be a lot of memory effects in this set, more than likely. I'm assuming that's probably going to be the case. Or at least effects that let you put characters into memory. I hope there's nothing like I've seen recently with like HoloLive where it's like, oh, X number of cards in your memory with different names. So I'm hoping it's not like different names. It look like for this one doesn't say that, and this is going to be like a top end, so maybe that's not something you have to worry about. But all right, let's continue. So that's it for the double rares. We have Yotsuba Nakano, Memories with You, 005K. If this is in your memory, all your special Yotsuba Nakano, which was that level 3, get 500 power. This has an effect to send it to memory. When this becomes reversed in battle, send this to memory, put a card from your hand into your clock. Search your deck for a character with Yotsuba added to your hand. So that's really good to get your level 1 combos started. Like, that's really good. Okay, so I'm liking it. Miku, 002K, Flowers of Gratitude for her. When this is placed on hand from stage, top check. If it's a Miku or Nice Idea, which I'm assuming is an event, choose one of your characters and that character gains 1,000 power for turn. Okay. When this is placed from stage to or when it's set, so when it dies, you can reveal up to 3. If you reveal 1 or more, add a Miku, and then discard a card. Okay. Once again, more lock stuff, like character lock, instead of like just a quintuplets thing in general. Even this one, this first Itsuki, also has to deal with Itsuki. When you use an act ability, this gets +1 soul once per turn. That's a 002K. Itsuki, Path of the Quintuplets. So it gets an extra soul, and it has... This is an auto. When this is placed from stage to, on stage from hand, you can pay 1, put a character with Itsuki in your waiting room to the bottom of your clock, search your deck for a level 1 or lower character with Itsuki in name. Okay. Making, like, letting you get to, like, level 1 combos and whatnot really easy. I would like this in the Itsuki build that I have. So, that's pretty cool. That's it for the green double rares and such. I don't think I'm going to have a whole bunch of double rares. Let's just go ahead and let's just do like 3. Let's unique charm. Yeah, we'll do 4. We'll do 4 instead of 5. Make things go quicker, a little bit quicker. Itsuki Nakano unique charm 0015. I noticed that there's a lot of double rares that are 0015. It's just weird. It's whatever. When you use an act, this gains 2,000 power for the turn. When the battle opponent becomes reversed, choose one of your other quints, rest it, move it to an empty slot in the back row, so it's a clean cut. And it has an act to tap a quintuplets to gain 1,000 power. Okay, so the one is not Itsuki locked. This is good for any of the decks. This can be pretty cool. You tap one of your back rows that you have just for the fuck of it. It gains an extra 2k, making it a 35. And then you can attack with another character and clean cut. The only thing is that means you have to, like, typically I like to say, like, maybe attack with a Brainstormer, then attack with a clean cut and use the clean cut effect to put the Brainstormer in the back row. But this makes it so you do have to commit, like, 1 extra character to the board. So, I don't know. I don't mind it, but it's just a lot from hand first turn. Maybe if you, like, are still at level 0 on your second turn, it doesn't matter, but that's whatever. Then we have a Nino double rare. Heck yes. We have a 115K. I think I know what this is. We will find out. If all of your characters are quints, this gains 1,500 power. And the following 2 abilities. So she becomes a 1165 as long as you have only quints. During your turn, this gains an extra 2k, so redo that math, 6/5, becomes a 1/1/8/5 with character encore. That is pretty big. Climax combo. When this attacks, if Hidden Fierce Attack is in the climax zone, and you have 2 or more other quintuplet characters, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose one of them, and put it on top of the deck. And then this gains the following ability for the turn. When the battle opponent becomes reversed, you can choose a character in your waiting room, turn it to your hand. This does all the top checking you want it to do. It has power. This is really good. I'm going to go, I know I didn't check for the other ones. I assumed that like the Ichika and the Yotsuba cards were like choice triggers and gold bars. I want to see if Hidden Fierce Attack is a standby. I think this is a standby since it's on a 1/1. I'm going to go ahead and Ideal Teacher I think is Itsuki, so I'm going to assume that is a salvage. Hidden Fierce Attack is a standby. We have salvage for Ideal Teacher. Reproduction of the Encounter is another salvage, which does matter if you're doing an Itsuki-based deck. And Declaration of War for Love is another standby? We got 2 more fucking standbys in the same set? Okay. Okay. So on top of you play the standby, you get like your a level 2 target into play. Attack, do the top checking, potentially make it so you can dig further for more standby triggers. And then it salvages on reverse with an 8/5. Not counting if you use like say the Nino that bounces back to give like buffs and everything when you play a standby, when you play a climax. So you can make this thing even bigger potentially. But a 1/1/8/5 is more than likely going to reverse whatever the fuck you need it to and not have to worry about like a lot of other stuff. Typically, not saying it's going to be guaranteed every time, but typically that's pretty fucking cool. And it has a character encore. It's going to stay around like the 2/2 Nino does. So, all right, I'm liking it. We have one more double rare. Nino Nakano Unique Charm. And that is a 3/2/8/5. If your opponent has a level 3 or higher character, this gets minus a level in hand, having vibes to it was a level 3 Aaron. I think it was Resisting Fate Aaron from AOT Volume 1. I also think there was a Darkness from Konosuba that does the same thing. If you have 2 or more other Quints, this gains 2,500 power, making her 11. And Character Encore and Heal on Play. Okay, that ain't bad at all. Okay. And, oh shit, we have one more double rare. Maybe I do need to get the 5th card? It's just 53. Ugh. Just to see real quick, see if this is a rare, but we'll show it anyway, whatever. Itsuki Nakano, Acknowledging Her Own Feelings. I didn't think there was going to be another double rare. It's a 3/2/9/5. When this is placed from hand to stage, look up to 3 cards from top of your deck, choose up to 1 of them, put in your hand, put the rest into your waiting room, and this gains 1,500 power for the turn, making her 11, and we saw Ideal Teacher was a salvage, so making her a 12. On attack, if Ideal Teacher is in your climax zone, discard 3. You have to have experience of 6 or higher, and you can discard 3. Deal 3 damage to your opponent. Look at up to 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Choose up to 2 of them, put them on top of the deck in any order, put the rest into waiting room. Oh, okay, so it's kind of doing a Mocha-esque effect here on top of Burn, but it's also doing the discard 3 cards like I did for the Itsuki deck that I posted a deck profile for. The level 3 did some Burn shenanigans by pitching characters, specifically characters from hand. I think it was specific, but you had to discard like 3 cards from hand. But the Itsuki deck worked around having a bigger hand size due to effects that increased your hand limit. And it also worked off of the level stuff. So this would be very interesting to get, like, see if you can drop, like, multiple copies of this card. Hell yeah. And then the last one was a Ichika Nakano Flowers of Gratitude, 005k, or 5k, 500, bleh. When this becomes reversed, level 0 reverser, okay. When this is placed on stage, from the waiting room, placed from stage to waiting room. When it dies, pay 1, put a character with Ichika from your waiting room on the bottom of your clock. If so, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. Search your deck for search for up to 1 character with Ichika in name amongst those 5. Put it into your hand, put the rest of the waiting room, draw a card afterwards. So you add a Ichika, then you draw a card at the end of all that, and then you discard a card. Pretty interesting hand filtering there, I will say, but you do get to dig 5 for an Ichika. This is really good. I do like this. And this is only on a rare, so definitely going to be grabbing this. So, and then to round it out with the blue double rares, we saw there was 4 in the last one. We're going to do a minimum of 4. And we'll go for... Oh, fuck it, let's do 5. And if there's any more past that, whatever. Miku Nakano Unique Charm is a 1/04K. When it's placed from hand to stage over the top card of your deck, if it's a quints or an event, you can put it face up underneath this as a marker. When a dream she wants to advance is placed in your climax zone, and this is in your front row, use a level X or lower quintuplets in your waiting room. X is equal to the total markers under your characters. So it counts not just herself, but all of your characters. Okay. Oh, so if you drop multiple copies of her, or maybe even, it says if it reveals an event. Maybe there's an event that puts it underneath cards as markers, because this is when it attacks. If there's a marker, it gains 3K. So it just says if there's a marker, not if your number of markers is a certain number. So the number of markers doesn't matter unless you're doing the combo. And it's when the climax is placed, it's not like on reverse or anything. So you get to just do all your marker shenanigans. Maybe there's like a Miku specific thing that works with markers. So we do have like Yotsuba stuff working with memory, more standby stuff from Nino, and Miku that works with markers. Okay. So, I don't know. Pretty interesting so far. We have Miku Nakano, something she wants to do is a 3/2/10K. On play from hand or by the effect of another Miku Nakano Feelings Within, you can put the top card of your clock into the waiting room. So I'm assuming it's like a level 2 that can early play her or something. When this attacks, if I Won't Hold Back is in the climax zone and you have 2 or more other quintuplets, you can pay 1 stock. If so, perform the following action. Put the bottom 4 cards of your opponent's deck into waiting room. If there was at least 1 climax, deal 1 damage to your opponent. Let's see, hold on. Deal 1 damage to your opponent X times. X is equal to 1 if there are 2 or fewer markers. And and you deal 1 2 times if you have characters with 3 or more markers. Oh, okay, cool. So maybe there's like a back row card that also puts markers? I don't know. I'm assuming there's probably like maybe a brainstormer or something that would put like markers under it, or another like some kind of buffing effect, or maybe another climax combo that puts markers underneath. So that's cool. That's it for the double rare, so we don't have the surprise 4 double rares. The Miku Feelings Within is a 0/500. All of your other quints gave 500. Okay. Pay 1, put a card from your hand face up underneath this as a marker. Rest this. If there are 2 or fewer markers under this, choose a character in your waiting room, return it to your hand. Rest this, pay 1. If your level is 3 or higher, choose a Miku. So no, it wasn't a level 2, it was this level 0. Okay, so you could pay 1 and rest this, and summon that Miku, and place any markers as well as this card under that level 3 Miku. And this is specifically this level 3. Sorry, I exited out of it way too soon. So specifically, if you early play this, you already fulfill the conditions of the 3 or more for burning 1 twice. So as long as, if you can, or like if you have other cards that can do it, that's cool. If not, as long as you can early play it, you have the guaranteed condition and you can just hard cast the other 2. Well, I say early, it's not even early play. I'm sorry, I was wrong. If you are level 3 or higher. So you're basically just trying to do this at level 3. So that's really cool. I kind of like the marker thing for this. It's kind of interesting. I guess also with the early play thing, you don't have to worry about like getting anti-changed and not having the markers anymore for like your other copies. So I don't know. I guess if you could do this too easy, like this easy of a cost at level 2 with multiples of these, it would be very unfair. So now we can X out of the other one. Nino Nakano, Flowers of Gratitude, 002K. Place on the stage from hand. Put a card from your hand into your clock. Search your library for a character with Nino. Add it to your hand. Alright, so we get to maybe hard cast the 1/1. I don't know. When this attacks, if all of your characters have Nino, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one of them, put it on top of the deck, and put the rest into Waiting Room. Very, very interesting. I see that as a recurring theme with like a lot of the Nino cards for this so far, is like the top checking and whatnot. So we have Miku Nakano, Path of the Quintuplets, is a global 500 to all of your, specifically all of your quintuplets with a marker gain 500. So it's probably prominent. Brainstorm, pay 1, rest this, mill 4 for each gate trigger icon, salvage back a character. Okay. And I guess I'll show the promos real quick. Maybe they're all the same card. I don't know. I know it's like after like a little time skip at the end of the movie. Because I cheat, watch the movie. I'm just going to... Okay, so they are different right off the bat. The first... So they're all... The quintuplets name. 5 of them together 5 years later is the name for every single one of these promos. Is a 001K. Place on stage from hand, reveal the top card if it's 1 or higher. Put into your hand and discard a card. Pretty cool. At the start of your opponent's draw phase, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's 1 or higher, you can bounce this back. Okay. Then we have a Yotsuba is a 104K. If it attacks, so you have 4 or more cards in hand, this gains 3K. Or if you just want to, you can also use it as a Brainstorm. Pay 1, rest 2, mill 4 for each climax, salvage back. Okay. The Nino is a 002K. It has a drawback of your opponent's characters get an encore of 2 cost. And when this is placed on stage from hand, put the top card of your deck into Waiting Room. If there is a climax, you can salvage back a quits from your Waiting Room. Okay. And then Itsuki is a 105K. Oh, okay. When this is placed on stage from hand, all players perform the following action. If there are 5 or more cards in your memory, choose 4 cards in your memory, and put all cards in your memory other than those chosen this way in the Waiting Room. It's to prevent your opponent from doing like hyper compression of like, oh, I have 7 or 8 cards in memory because I can. Like, nope, get rid of some. When this attacks, if there's 5 or more cards in hand, choose a quince, it gains 15. Okay. Miku is 103K. When this is placed on stage from hand, pay 1, pitch 1, look up to 3 from the top of the deck. Choose one card amongst them and add it to your hand, so you just get to dig for a card. When this is placed on stage from Waiting Room, so when it dies, you can reveal 3. If you revealed at least 1 this way, add a quince to hand, put the rest in the Waiting Room, and then discard a card. Okay. So, the promos are pretty cool. So yeah, now is where I plan to go through the rest of the set. And if I see anything else that's interesting that I didn't showcase in the double rares and a couple of the rares, then I'll show them on the rest of the video and we'll go from there. So time skip. And here is after the time skip. First off, just something I wanted to point out for the set in general before I have a bunch of cards here to check out. First off, almost every single one of the cards in here has like an SR version. I'm assuming it's all like SR version, not counting like triple rares or whatever. I legitimately had to go, wait a minute, is this an extra booster? And I looked and it was not an extra booster. It's just a regular booster pack that just has a shit ton of like every single one of the cards has a foil version. I didn't even notice that when I was first looking at it and like clicking on the stuff. It took me about halfway through the fucking list and before I realized, wait a minute, I'm having to skip every other one to click on. Hold up. It took me a minute to realize that. So But there's overframe rares, there's triple rares, there's literally an SR for every single card. I don't know if English is going to do the same thing, and I highly doubt it, but I'm not going to dwell on this for too terribly long. Let's get into the rest of the set. The rest of the set that I found, that I thought this was a couple interesting effects throughout the entirety of it, and a couple cards I just wanted to point out, as well as one particular thing I wanted to complain about. But not a complaint, but one thing I thought was cool was this Ichika. It's a 3/2/8/5. It's an early play if you have 4 or more characters with the Ichika name. If you have an Ichika waifu deck, this is pretty cool. Even more so because on play, you can discard a card to choose a climax card with a choice trigger in your waiting room, add it to hand. Then you top check, and if it's a character with Ichika, you add it to your hand, and she gives 3k power to a character if when it attacks you have 4 or more characters with Ichika. I like the idea of being able to grab a climax. Like, one, you can discard a climax if you want to, so kind of a climax swapper. But let's say you have too many level 0s in hand or something, and you need to get your level 3 climax combo going. You can do this and specifically get it as long as it has a choice trigger, which is really easy to do, especially like most of the Ichika decks. I think all the Ichika combos, almost all of them are choice trigger. I think there is like a shot trigger or 2 throughout all of the sets, but for the most part, just do this if you need to get your plussing combo, if you need to get off the combo, in game or whatever. Just saying, that is a thing, and I thought that was kind of cool. Also, I thought on an uncommon here is this Ichika 1045. During your turn, if you have 2 or more other Quints, it gains 2k, making it a 1065. It does use a choice trigger with Actresses Acting. When the battle opponent becomes reversed, you can discard a card if you have Actresses Acting, and you have 2 or more other Quints. Search your deck for 2 Quints, add them to your hand. So it's got like a Zekken Yuki feel to it. It's just it has to reverse. You can discard whatever the fuck you want, and then search for 2. And if you have multiple of these on the field, as long as you can reverse, you can very easily just like grab one that you really need, and then grab a discard fodder, swing with another one, pitch the discard fodder, and search for the exact ones that you need. If you're able to get off a bunch of reverses with this, with like multiple copies of this on field, you can craft your hand in such a way that you're not going to worry about stuff. You can even pitch extra climaxes from hand. I do say, and also it waits until you reverse to pay the cost. I thought that was really, really good. Too often you have this on when this card attacks, pay a cost and it gains the ability when the battle opponent becomes reversed. Stuff like that. So much as like, go ahead and pay the cost, and then if you reverse, but this is just on reverse, then you can pay the cost. I very much like that, and it's like 2 character. You get 2 quintuplets. It's not limited to just Ichika. So on an uncommon, this is pretty fucking good. I just thought this was really nice. I know a lot of people don't like the on reverse combos, but for what all you get in the one package, pretty cool. The effect wasn't what drew me to it. This is still a good, pretty cool card to be able to like snipe off some level 0s from your opponent's front row, as well as on play you can pitch a Quints to draw a card. But the biggest thing I wanted to point out for this is it has every single one of the girls' names in this. And there's a lot of cards in this set and in other sets that'll say if your character with Miku, your character with Ichika, etc. So because this has every single name in there, this is something you can run in any of the mono waifu decks, and it fulfills the conditions of those without like fucking you over. Just more so the name of the card, like it's still a pretty decent like effect overall if you want to run. It's a common. Really cool art as well, but it's more the fact it shares a name with every single girl, so I thought that was interesting to point out. Next is this event, Quintuplets Game Final. It's a 3/2. It first off straight up says, you may play this card from hand without meeting the color requirement. You can run this in any mono waifu deck, it doesn't matter. You may reveal a card from your hand. If so, from your waiting room, choose up to 1 character with the same color as the revealed card, up to 1 climax with the same color as the revealed card, and return them to your hand. Just straight up lets you grab, your, like say your level 3 finisher, and the climax associated with it if you don't have them in hand for just 2 stock, and you can play it in any deck because you don't have to meet the color requirements. That's pretty cool. Yotsuba event here, reason of transferring, and there was other effects in this, like a level 1 combo or whatever in this that works with this this card specifically. It's a counter event, level 2, 1 stock. Choose up to, the counter effect is choose up to 2 characters in your waiting room with Yotsuba in name, return them to your hand and then discard 1 card. So you get a little hand filtering, but grab what you need. But then you send this to memory. And then if this is in memory, at the start of your climax phase, you can pay the cost. If so, return this to your hand, which is discarding a climax card. A lot of the Yotsuba cards and combos are all going to be on gold bars. So the gold bars are going to get into your hand very easy to get this to recur a whole bunch. But it goes to your memory. And honestly, for a lot of the other Yotsuba cards, there was a lot of memory stuff. Like, it was gratuitous. You do not have to worry about like making certain that your memory effects go off because they are bountiful. I'm just going to put it that way. Then we have Itsuki Nakano Flowers of Gratitude. I can't remember the name of the person who stated this on the Itsuki deck profile, but they said, hey, we do get another level 0 that increases your hand size limit, and I found it. And I very much like this card, so I do not remember your name, dude, but thank you very much for informing me like there's some really good cards in this set, and this is one of them. There's a Brainstormer in the previous set that I ran for the Itsuki Mono Itsuki deck that increases your hand size limit, and this level 0 does it as well. In addition to 2 act abilities, which also is relevant because several, like the level 1 and some other cards in the deck that I had made, they'll get buffs when you use an act ability, so this can proc those. Pay 1, rest this, choose one of your Quints, it gains the ability for the turn when the battle opponent becomes reversed, salvage back a character from waiting room. And then it has an experience, just rest this. If the sum of levels of cards in your level zone is 3 or higher, which is really easy for the deck that I was putting together for that, choose a character, it gains 2k power for the turn. Which is really cool, say for the level 1 Itsuki that I was running, it already gets a buff when you use an act. Use this and you get an even bigger buff on top of that, just really cool. So once again, the whole hand size limit increase I thought was really interesting. You don't really see that on a lot of cards, but there was a lot of really neat cards in this anyway, and this was one of them. This is where the complaining starts. I'm gonna showcase these 2 cards and then I'm gonna complain. This 1/1 Nino, huge affection. Says all your other characters with Nino in its name get the ability. When this attacks, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one of them, put it on top of the deck, put the rest in the waiting room. And then when your character's trigger check reveals a standby trigger icon climax, specifically a climax, choose a character, it gains 3k power for the turn. That's a little whatever. The next card is Nino Nakano, Our Determination. It's a 3/2, 10/5. All of your other Quints gain 1500 power, and it has a climax combo with the other standby in the set. During your climax phase, when this is placed on stage via the effect of the standby Declaration of War for Love, you can sack that climax. If you do, stand this. So you can standby it in and go ahead and swing with it the same turn. And all of your characters gain the following ability. When this attacks, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose one of them, put it on top of the deck, and put the rest into your waiting room. This gives it to all of your characters. The deck that the Nino deck that I have is a mono Nino deck. This specifically gives the top check stuff to all the Ninos. This is going to sound like a really weird complaint. There's a lot of Nino in this that does the top check effect. There's already quite a few cards from the previous sets that do the top check effect. To my knowledge, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if you do that, like if you have this on field, like if the character already has it built in, like I think it was this one, has the same effect built in, and we'll get to this card in a minute. The on attack, look it up to 2 and all that. To my knowledge, it stacks. So if you have this on field, you have this that's giving it the effect again, you can do this top check ability twice. Then you have this, where'd it go? This level 3 that gives it again. You're top checking for days. Like, how much are you, like, I say complaining, but this is just a minor, like, why does, like, this is just happening so much. I make a different effect. I saw so many Nino cards in here with top check 2, look it up to 2, or look it up to 2, pick one, just all the top checking and top checking and top checking that can go. You can dig through like the top 6 cards of your deck. Well, no, because you could go, you would top check 2, you would see 1 and you put it back on top. Then you would top check again. That's 3 cards. Well, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's 3 cards you've seen. And then you would check again, you would put 1 back up. It could be the first card that you initially put back up there still. And then you top check 2 again. So if you do this effect like 3 times, you are checking like the top 4-ish cards of your deck. I'm assuming you're just trying to dig for like another standby trigger or something. It's still pretty cool. It's uncommon and everything. I just thought that the top check thing was a little like excessive. Each of the girls have their own like little gimmicks and everything. Like there's a bunch of the Ichika cards that have the effects of doing twin drive, but they do other shit on top of twin drive. It's one thing if it did like additional effects within there, and I have other Nino cards that don't have this, but I just wanted to kind of point this out. It's just a lot of the top check stuff I feel is like a little bit excessive to try to have to keep track of how many times that procs. Because what if you top check 1 too many times accidentally? It's whatever. It's a minor thing. It's just a thing if you had to keep track of and your opponent needs to keep track of and all that shit. But we get another 2 different standby triggers in this set. And yeah, that's going to be fun to fuck with as well. Another Climax combo I thought was cool. Once again, this is on an uncommon. Itsuki Nakano Own Well. It's a 2/1. It does work off of experience, but it's a level 2 card. You can play at level 1. That you have to have a experience of 3 or higher. So you could still play this at level 2 and get the 3 or higher ability, but in like the Itsuki deck, you could pull this off a lot easier. It can be early played if you have 4 or more Quints, really cool. And the experience is 3 or higher, gains 4k power, making it a 2/19k. Then the Climax combo is with Reproduction of the Encounter, which is a 1k1 salvage. So she could be a 2/10k. At the start of your Encore step, if this is in the front row and you have a full field of Quints, you can sack the Climax, look it up to 4 for the top of the deck, search up to 4 quintuplets or the event surprise via acting, reveal them, put them into your hand. You could just straight add 4 cards from the top of your deck into your hand that way. I just thought this was a really neat little like uncommon card Climax combo to just be able to potentially add 4 cards to hand. That was pretty cool. And this Nino was neat too. Nino Nakano Path of the Quintuplets is a 3/2/7/5. It's mostly an assist. All of your characters with Nino in front of it gain 2k power. Pretty cool. Heal on play. Also pretty cool. If you're able to stand by this in the next turn, you can do this effect. If all of your characters have Nino in name, or even if you hardcast this for the heal, you can pay 2, rest this, put the bottom 3 cards of your opponent's deck on top into their waiting room, deal X damage to your opponent. X is equal to the number of climaxes amongst those cards. A little bit extra burn in the deck I thought was kind of nice. So this one in particular is very interesting. It's a 0/0/500. Nino Nakano Looking Out for Big Sister. Well, when this is played from hand to stage, you can pay 1, pitch a quintuplets, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose one of them, put it into your hand, put the rest into waiting room. Also has effect when this is placed on stage from hand, pitch a quints to draw a card. This is a pretty good effect. A pretty good card overall. This is extremely similar. It's not the exact same, but it's extremely similar to the level 0 Nino that is currently on the pick 1 of 3 for the quintuplets restricted list. There's a level 0 Nino that it doesn't pay stock. That's the biggest thing. But it has the first effect of it is similar to this. Pitch a Nino, draw a card on play, but it has a on play pitch a card, top check, whatever the level of that card that you top check is, salvage back a character with that level or lower. Whereas this is a pay one pitch a quints to look at up to 4. It says choose up to 1 of them. So you get to add any 1 card from those 4 to your hand and put the rest into waiting room. In terms of like the effect I use on that the most, I still use the salvaging effect, don't get me wrong. But the most that I use that Nino for in the pure Nino 8 standby that I run is the on play pitch a Nino draw card, which this has the same exact thing. So, and you know, if I want to try to dig maybe for a standby, if I don't have standby in hand, this lets you top check 4. Unless there's a mistranslation, it says choose up to 1. It says look at up to 4 cards, choose up to 1 of them, which should mean pick up to 1 of those cards and add it to hand, which is perfectly understandable because you're paying 1 and discarding. So it's not like Winter a Moment Akatsuki where it's just like on play, pitch a card, top check. If it was, though, I almost could see this being a replacement for that level 0 Nino on the restricted list in case you wanted to run one of the other 2 cards up there. Maybe you want to run the -3 soul event. Maybe you want to run the Ichika. That's up to you. But this could almost, not guaranteed, but for an uncommon, this could almost replace that level 0 Nino. I could be wrong, but it'd be something fun to test play and try out. I just wanted to point that out. So we're going to try to round these up a little bit quicker. Nino Nakano Secretly Helped. It's a 2/1 2500 backup. When you use the backup of this, if you have 5 or more characters with Nino in name, you can pay 1, pitch 1, deal 2 damage to your opponent. I like cards like this that let you try to burn on your opponent's turn to potentially kill them. I think that's just funny. And that's just really cool. It's because, honestly, an extra pay 1, pitch 1 is not that difficult of a cost to pull off. So it's the main thing if you have to have 5 or more characters with Nino, and I have a pure Nino deck, so that works perfectly. So just the idea of like, oh, my opponent's like, oh, I just barely survived. I'm going to squeak out the win from you. Swing. Okay, cool. Burn 2 before your damage goes through. You know, it's just really funny to be able to do that. So I'm definitely going to be grabbing this. It's an uncommon as well. I'm definitely going to be grabbing this and trying that out. This is the other Nino I was pointing out earlier. It's a potential other level 2 target. Nino Nakano prefers Takoyaki. There's a lot of extra really good blue cards in this set as well. So, you know, obviously with standby, you don't give a fuck for the color. But say if you swap over to the level 3 Nino in this set that stands itself instead of the level 2 that people currently run that stands itself, you could put this in because it is a bit bigger. The level 2 Nino that is currently like the thing that's run the most with the climax combo and everything, it gets insanely big. It's really, really big. But I will admit it is very weak defensively. Offensively, have fun. Defensively, it's not as big, but this is still pretty cool. For each of your other quints in the front row, this gains 2500 power. Now, if your opponent removes something, she'll become weaker. But even if there's only one other character, she's a 2285, which matches the level 2 Nino. Let me double check that real quick. I'm fairly certain it does. I literally have the deck right next to me. So. Okay, yeah, the 2/2 Nino I'm talking about is a 7k that gains an extra 1000 if you do the climax combo until the end of your opponent's next turn. So even that Nino is only a 228k defensively after the combo. This is a 2285 without any combo whatsoever. It doesn't have character encore, but if you do have 2 other quints in the front row, she's a 2211k, which is vastly bigger defensively. I just thought that was neat. I'm not saying this is the go-to. I think the other is the go-to because it's just way better with the combo and everything. But just something I want to point out. The last thing is Tandem Riding. It's a backup. It's a counter event. Level 3 blue for stock. If you have 5 or more characters with Nino in its name, choose up to 2 characters in your clock with Nino, return them to your hand, and send this to memory. You don't really get to see a lot of the backup events that heal from clock to hand or whatever anymore. The main thing I think people remember from a long time ago was a card in Madoka Magica called Sayaka's Wish. And it was like, it only worked with Sayaka cards. And this only works with Nino cards, but that worked off of, I'm trying to remember, like, the decks that ran weren't like only a Sayaka deck that ran that. There was like, every Madoka deck ran that. But I just thought this was really crazy. It is a hefty cost, but a heal 2 for this hefty of a cost, I mean, that's whatever. Like that could save your bacon. I just thought this was really neat, and you don't really see this a whole bunch anymore. That is going to do it for the deck. There's a lot of recurring effects, obviously. There's bountiful amounts of ways to get the memory stuff for Yotsuba. There's a lot of marker effects for the Miku cards. There's just a lot of interesting stuff overall that you can just build a deck from this set as a whole, but you can upgrade so much of the stuff from the other sets as well. It just all works together very nicely in one very good package. And I am eagerly anticipating when this set drops for multiple reasons. Obviously, so I can make more deck profiles and everything. So almost every single deck that I've showcased on the channel up until now is probably going to get an upgrade in some way, shape, or form, or at least some kind of a buff. And I'll work towards doing so and seeing if maybe those deck profiles will get an upgrade in the future. Just saying. But with that, we're going to be signing off for now. Thank y'all very much for watching. It is greatly appreciated. Check our description for the Discord link. Please join us up there. If you have any deck list you want to submit up there for me to take a look at, by all means, post it up there. Please like and subscribe. I got to remember the whole YouTuber spiel. If not, it's all good. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.